tell you more about Qawali music, I'm going to hand you over to the promoter, Mr. Muhammad Ayub.
Thank you very much indeed, ladies and gentlemen. It's my greatest privilege, and I'm proud to present to you the most famous Qawwal from the Indian subcontinent and his troupe. And I am really delighted that you have waited so long to listen to this wonderful group of musicians.
'78, we were brought 2 10-inch reels of a concert, and that was the first introduction of Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan's voice. I said, what a heavenly voice. We must introduce this voice to the wider world.
Myself and my colleague, partner Bob Hooton, we made our way up to Birmingham to Oriental Star and met Mr. Ayub. So as part of, a national visit, as it were, we were lucky enough to be able to present Nusrat at Mersey Island in 1985.
It's hard to remember now how remarkable the experience of listening to this music would have been for that audience. The only way you would have heard Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan's music outside of the Indian subcontinent or the diaspora would have been on very formal kind of museum records, which would have been recorded in places like Théâtre de la Ville in Paris. So to have his performance in front of a festival, a camping festival in a field in Essex, was completely mind-blowing because nobody expected the impact that it would have.
His performance was at a midnight and a weekend, when all the other performances had finished. Nusrat was billed there for about 75 minutes. So we travelled and he started singing. We introduced him for the first time to mainstream audiences.
And it was just remarkable in those days that that you could expose an audience who perhaps had come for the Fall or had come for the Pogues, and that then they could see something that they'd never seen before. They never would have seen anything like a Qawali group before, and they would be absolutely enraptured by it.
Not all WOMAD festival performances are recorded in a multi-track way to give us something of this quality. So looking back, it's just a fantastic twist of fate.
Everything's spread across multiple tapes. Each one of these is about half an hour long. And so we've got 5 of them. So that's 2.5 hours of recording here. And so the first process we had to really do was figure out which bits of this recording were best to present and which elements weren't. So we all sat down in a big room together, played through the 3-hour recording, and between us figured out which of the tracks were the best ones to put forward. These tapes have been in storage at Real World for 34 years. Have a quick look inside. You can see they've survived pretty well. Here's a tape, and then on the back of these tapes you can see we've got the markings from the day, detailing what's on each channel, so the vocals, the harmoniums, and then some ambient mics and the tablas. So that's what's on this tape. So we transferred that, and then we were able to use some modern technology to restore some of these recordings to their former glory, so removing bits of hum, bits of noise, bits of distortion. The most important part for me is that it feels like a live show. It shouldn't feel like a studio recording per se. It shouldn't feel too close. We should have a lot of space, room around it. What we didn't have in this recording, because it's only 8 channels, we don't have ambient microphones in the room. So we have to use the vocal microphones and push them up wherever we can so that you can hear the audience's reaction, so you can hear them singing along, which they do in parts, and clapping along. And that's a really fundamentally important part of it being a live recording. You have to feel like you were there in 1985 at WOMAD. The recording that you've found and are releasing is a real testimony to the magic of the night. The strength of the applause is one thing, but there are points where I think you can just feel the electricity of the experience.
We at Oriental Star agencies feel very privileged and honoured and lucky to have worked with such a great singer of our time. I never imagined in my dreams that I would be working with him. It was a great honour. And it was a great honour for us to go to Peter Gabriel, who gave a projection to the world stage at WOMAD Festival. And that 1985 concert was the start of his fame throughout the world.